Hello to all you lovers out there. It's Juan and G. I'm G.
And I'm Juan, and we are here at the lovely home of our couple of the month for August, Rafer and Kelly.
Yes, and they made us lunch, so they're trying to do a little step up above our last couple of the month. So let's go on. We're gonna eat, and we're gonna sit down with Rafer and Kelly. We're gonna find out how they make love work.
All right, come
Alrighty.
Are here in the lovely, when I tell you lovely, home of Rafer and Kelly. We walked into the living room, and it was like a show home. Like it was staged, it was perfect. You have the artifacts, you have the beautiful benches. I don't know who's OCD out of
We both are.
Rafer or Kelly.
Perfect match.
Both are?
We both are.
So before we get into the love story and how you met and all of that, how do you deal with both of you being OCD? Gotta address that right now.
I don't think it's that bad. But the other thing that you said that we talked about.
You don't notice it until somebody else come over and be like,
I mean, we're like, we don't have kids running around, so that makes a difference.
But that's another conversation too, because when we were having
just the two
lunch.
of us.
Yeah, and so if one of us sees something out of place, we just kind of go in and
put it in place.
put it back in place. And everything has a place. And it needs to be there.
Pun intended. But thank you guys for welcoming us into your lovely home. Thank you for lunch, the nice, healthy lunch. We're going to have dessert after this. And cocktails. So step it up, people. Keep stepping it up. But thank you guys. So the way we like to first start these interviews is we like to just know, how did you guys meet? Please just give us the love story. And is it the same version?
Do you both?
I'll let Rafer do his.
Save the best for last.
It was a Kappa party. He's a Kappa. I'm not. And
Be clear.
And I was getting invited to him, so I went to a Kappa pool party. I saw him. He was getting a lot of attention. He had on this yellow shorts that was getting him a lot of attention.
Like booty shorts?
Yeah. And
Booty shorts.
I apparently said something to my friends, but I noticed him, but I didn't say anything to him. And then, like 2 weeks later, I went to another Kappa pool party, and I saw him, and he has a cackle. I don't know if you've heard the cackle.
We know that cat, but we'll hear it multiple times out this interview.
Cackle.
So I heard it, and I turned around like, who's that? But when I saw it, he was actually in mid-laugh, and he laughed with his whole being. And so I thought it was very interesting, and I actually thought he was a bimbo. I thought he was an airhead. So.
And we all know that is far.
So anyway, he was walking by me, and I said, "Stop! I need your number." And
Not even knowing his name yet?
no, but no, I
didn't know.
I didn't know really who he was.
Okay.
And I handed him. I had an iPhone. He had a BlackBerry at the time, and he's like, "I don't know how to operate that." And he said, "You need my number." I said, "No, I just want it." Then he gave it to me, and we started texting.
Wow.
And that's how it started.
Rafer, you sound
that-
like G.
What? Yeah, that was
Like very forward, and that's so attractive to me.
Yes.
Like, so you tell me, how did you feel being macked up like that? That's all I could call it. Like that, he did the same thing to me. How did you feel with it inside?
I liked it.
Did you?
And that's the kind of take charge that I like. I don't like anyone who's like, oh, well,
maybe if you like me.
Yeah, I'm not a person that likes to deal with the wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, interesting trait, great. And so that's when we started texting. And the next day we went to brunch at Rosebud, which is our favorite restaurant. And we continued the conversation. He still thought I was a bimbo.
He must like bimbos. You're not talking about the brunch.
Clearly. So,
I asked him who was Kelly.
he did. He
And
asked
so
me
when he started answering that question,
Very direct. He's very direct in his approach all across the board, huh?
which is good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let me tell you who I am.
Who is Kelly?
I mean, Kelly is someone who has come from Mississippi, very small town, impoverished, and has, gone out of my way to ensure that I'm successful. And that means going to the Navy after high school, going to college, getting my undergrad and my master's, and working on my PhD right now. So I was far from being a bimbo. But he didn't know that.
Right.
You know, he just saw the covering of the book instead of the book itself.
So him thinking, assuming you're a bimbo, did you take offense to that?
I didn't.
No.
Are you used to it?
didn't. Yes.
Kind of used
I
to
am.
it. Because you do have one of those very bubbly personalities that can be associated with an airhead.
Exactly.
But then you start talking some serious shit, and you're like, hold up now, I'm drinking.
Because you kind of have to give people the 1-2 punch, if
Yeah.
you will. You know, you can draw them in, but you really don't know who they are until you actually start to have those conversations. If you can't get past that first gate, then
Well, I asked him, and he said he had an MBA in finance, and I said, okay, well, explain derivatives to me.
Oh my God.
I mean, within the first hour, I'm like, I said, I was thinking to myself, are you ready for that?
Okay.
And did you explain it?
He did, and he did a very good job of explaining it, and I was like, okay.
He was like, oh. I said,
So then I was like, okay, he's attractive, sexy,
And has a brain.
and he has a brain.
And so when did you guys, was it like a love at first sight? Were you guys like together then, or were you still like dating? Or was it just like automatic, I'm together with him every day? Is that how it started?
It kind of slowly went there, because the first week we communicated regularly. We talked a lot. And it wasn't necessarily love at first sight.
That wasn't the intention. We were
No.
both in our single year.
Yes, because he had just got over a 6.5 year. I had just got out of 4.5 year. I was
Okay.
like, this is my single year.
yeah.
I'm gonna have fun. I want to do other things. Cause
There goes the
I'm a date bimbo! He got it. But then he was like, hold up now.
So you were both each other's rebound that ended up being
We
long time.
when we started, we said, okay, we said that, and we said we're not intended. Are you cool with just dating, being casual, or, you
Right.
know? And that's the way we went. What changed? There were some things that happened in between, but then what the pivotal moment was his father died 3 weeks ago, and it was one of those moments you step up or step back.
Right.
And I said, what do you need me to do to help? And
3 weeks in.
3 weeks in.
Wow.
So
That just gave me chills.
me too, and I want to know, like, what within you said I want to step up? Like, what made you want to step up versus stepping back 3 weeks in?
I kind of don't know how to do anything else, so
Yeah.
that's who I am.
That's
That's
just
part of
your
my
nature.
DNA.
yeah.
Like, I'm actually kind of making me tear up a little bit, because it's
Yeah, that's
it's beautiful, you know, especially 3 weeks in, to find someone that is willing to step up in your life, to hold your hand through such a tragedy. It's special. You don't find too many people who will do that.
And that's one of those things where the light bulb went off and said, okay, this is someone that I can explore further with. And in that time, he and I were together a lot, because we went to New Orleans in that time period. A week afterwards, I thought he was lying to me. He was like, oh, you want to go to New Orleans this weekend? I said, sure.
He called my bluff.
Y'all were calling each other's bluff.
Right.
He's like, yeah, whatever.
Sure. He was like, okay. I was like, lying.
Well, I think that's
10 minutes later, the e-ticket came in my email. I was like, oops.
I think that's something to reiterate, that it was amazing that you guys went into it as a rebound situation. You got your mind made up on be single, living a life, but you were open enough to know that there was something more there. You didn't run away from it.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that's what we do. We made up our mind. We're going to be single or whatever it is. And then you see there's something that challenges that, and you run away, but you could be missing out on marriage.
Right.
Exactly. So, but he and I were very open-minded. Both of us have always been very open-minded in allowing life to bring what we need to us, as opposed to trying to go out and run around and get it.
That's a very good perspective to have, because
Yes.
you can't control anything that comes to you.
You can't.
Control the
That's how you
reaction.
handle it, right?
It's how you handle it. So,
Yeah.
ever since then, we've been inseparable.
And how long ago was that?
That was
5 years
ago.
5 years ago. And so how long after you guys met did you move in together?
That's another story.
We here now.
Yeah, come on.
So what happened was, for my 30th birthday, which was 3 months later, you know, he was like, "Oh, let's go to Bermuda for a week."
You love to travel, huh?
I was like, he took me to Bermuda for my 30th birthday, which was the same year that we met. 3 months later, and so while I was away, my apartment got vandalized or broken into.
Just a whole tragedy.
Bimbo.
3 months like that.
But you know, I think I just moved there 2 months before.
I moved him in while he was at work. That's a different story.
You controlling.
He needed help. It wasn't that.
That was considerate. I don't even like to help
Myself.
nobody move.
No, I don't. I don't even move myself.
Yeah.
But my
But
friend
you did it for him.
My friend Zoltan and I went, and he was busy, and
He was trying to earn
things
money.
were happening, and
Who's trying to earn brownie points?
Yeah,
And you did.
he did. And so after that, I pretty much canceled the lease because I was like, this is not a safe community. I said, even though it was sold as being safe because it's in the middle of Buckhead, it's all this traffic going by. I said, no. So I was like, okay, well, why don't I just, you know, because I was going to look for another place, but he was like, why don't you just move in with me for a little while until you figure out what you're doing next. I was like, okay. So that was 3 months later after we met. So I was like, I think that's the 90-day rule broken.
All rules are made
Right.
broken. Okay.
But you know, my friend Teresa was telling me, she said, I think he paid somebody to take it to the place.
she still thinks that. She's still there.
But I mean,
To get you to move in with him.
yes. I was like, no, don't be silly. So, but we moved in 3 months later, and
The rest is history.
yeah, we just never moved away from each other.
And when did you guys get married?
That
A
was
year later.
A year later. Okay, so you've been married for about 4 years together.
Been 4 years. July 25th.
It's so our stories, that type of story, moving in, getting married, so similar.
Yeah, it is very simple.
We find these similarities with every couple that we interview. It's amazing to realize how connected we really are, how similar we really are with
Exactly.
everyone.
Right.
Once you take the time to sit down and talk to each
Exactly.
other,
Right.
you know.
Would you say the common denominator is that you didn't allow fear to stop you?
Exactly. And being vulnerable.
Yeah, and you just went with it. Suspend all judgment,
Yeah.
all the rules that you have in your mind, what it needs to look like, and just go with what you're feeling.
Yep.
right. Yeah, when we first met, Rafer was a workaholic. He was always working.
And what do you do for a living?
At the time, I was a director of a hotel company, but now I'm a flight attendant.
Flight attendant. So that means you're on the
wow.
road often.
Yes.
So
I got a whole lot of questions
yeah,
about
so
that.
that's a great time to take a break right now. We're going to get into how do you have a successful relationship when when your partner's on the road all the time, when you're constantly apart. How do you make a long distance love work? We'll be right back.